All right. How's everybody doing? Good. Fortunately for us, you had a little break before you're now sitting, so we're glad we're not the group prior to this and coming up against a break. So my name is Dave Edwards. I'm a Senior Principal Solutions Architect with NTT Data, along with my colleague Nick Curl, who's the Industry Solution Principal for NTT Data. We want to talk a little bit about the optimal path to S4, RISE, and beyond. Before we get started, just curious, raise of hands, how many SAP customers are in the room right now? Okay, fair amount. How many partners are with us? Great. And how many SAP-ers? Okay, there's two. All right, good. So let's jump into it. Why are we here talking with you today? So every SAP customer is going through a transformation journey, and we'll rely on SAP experts to help get them there. There's questions that they're asking. They're saying, hey, we have a major reimplementation of our ERP and to getting to S4HANA. Is the timing right to do the upgrade/conversion? What business value will we get from S4? Where do I find SAP consulting to help us? Where do I run my SAP environment? Do I go full cloud native? Do I do a hybrid, multi-cloud approach? What about my other connected IT applications? What about my non-RISE SAP applications? How do we make this all work? And then, what does RISE mean to me? And how do we derive value from going to RISE? Can I afford to lose some control of my ERP that I'm possibly managing on-prem today or with another provider? Those are some things that every SAP customer is going to have to figure out and deal with moving forward. Just a little bit about NTT Data. We are a 30 billion division of the NTT Group, fifth global IT service provider in the world, second app managed services. But the thing that I want to try to stress with you today is that we feel like we are the world's only full stack transformation partner or transformation company. And what we mean by that is from the lowest level from the networking to cloud, to automation, all the way up through advisory and strategy, we feel like we can help you along that journey and along that way. From an SAP perspective, I think this is extremely key. We can help you through all 9 stacks of your SAP environment, from data center managed services, all the way up through the basis layer, and then all the way up through functional AMS and advisory. A little bit about our SAP credentials. NTT Data has won multiple SAP Pinnacle Awards. We have all the top tier certifications on the hyperscalers, as well as, of course, SAP. We're SAP certified in BTP, as well as a RISE with SAP validated partner. In this next slide, we're one of 8 providers that are an SAP validated partner. Technical concierge. So what's the challenges that RISE presents to customers? There's a few. So you're going to be going from an on-prem license model to a subscription licensing model. That's one of the biggest things that people seem to realize and understand. But you're also going to be dealing with other challenges, such as RISE only deals with S4HANA. Now, there are instances where it will work with Microsoft SQL. There are options to get you there, staying on SQL. But again, that's only on Microsoft Azure. It's not on the AWS and GCP. There's a lack of integrated environment across your middleware, your legacy SAP and non-SAP components. You have to deal with that. You have to understand that you have to put things in place to allow that communication to happen effectively. There are some gaps in the technical day-to-day operations that we can help you with. There's also operational complexity, identifying the right support expert and who is going to do what task. There are clear lines of delineation between what RISE will do and what's expected of a customer and or its partner that you have to figure out. NTT has what's known as a technical concierge service. And what that does is it helps fill those gaps that SAP has within its services for RISE. The biggest value to this is we help you create or enable a steady state run of your SAP environment. We can take over the management of your RISE environment and be that interface between you, the customer, and SAP to effectively get your systems up and running or deal with situations that might be operational, might be performance issues. We, on your behalf, can fill that need. And like I said, there's also about a third of the RACI. I think the RACI is about 1,100, almost 1,200 line items at this point. Approximately a third of those RACI items are on the customer and or its partner to do. SAP can do some of those. There's some that they won't do, but a lot of customers don't understand that or understand the nuance to that and how we can help get you over the hump and fill those gaps that might be there. So for the architects in the room, show of hands, how many architects are here? Great, I'm talking to the right crowd. This is a pretty simple diagram, if you will, but this represents a public cloud environment. Upper right-hand corner, the RISE subscription. Please understand that's SAP's cloud. It's either on AWS, GCP, or Azure, Alibaba as well. But that's their cloud. They manage it, they maintain it, they run it for you. Your S4 and B4 systems will sit and reside within the RISE subscription. However, this scenario represents a cloud native approach where everything, your non-RISE systems and your other IT systems may sit on the cloud. Is there anybody in the room that's pure cloud today? One, okay. So the majority of everybody here is running possibly within this scenario where you're running a hybrid scenario where you might be running in a RISE within the cloud, but then your other IT workloads might be running on a private cloud or on-prem. So we have customers today that we are working with and providing a solution for them. One in particular that we're actively implementing right now because they find value in, yes, going to RISE, but they also have a fairly large IT estate that's either running on-prem or within our private cloud. I'm going to hand it over to Nick, who's going to walk you through transformation.
Thank you, Dave. Hi, everybody. My name is Nick Curl. I'm an industry solution principal with NTT. It's nice to talk to you all today. We've heard a lot over the last couple of days about the role of enterprise architects and business architecture and how we can drive organizations from the 30,000 foot level with strategy down to the 10,000 foot level with value streams, capabilities, even down to the 10 foot level of business processes, things like that. But we at NTT, we like to think of ourselves actually as the boots on the ground with you as well, helping you to implement and adopt, in particular in this case, S/4HANA, as you reach kind of the execution stage of your journey. We heard Jason talk a lot about enterprise architects and the goal of speeding adoption or increasing adoption in our organizations. And at NTT Data, we have an S4 move practice where our entire focus is accelerating adoption of S/4HANA and S/4HANA on RISE. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today. We help our customers with that, with a full portfolio of accelerators for that journey. I'll talk a little bit about each one of these as we go here. The first of those being our digital assessment NTT Wayfinder. Right, that's going to help you guys decide what's the correct way for us to get to S/4HANA. Right, we have hundreds of customers that have gone to S/4HANA via what we call a greenfield implementation or a new implementation of S4. We also have hundreds of customers that have gone through a system conversion or what we might call a brownfield conversion. We also have some customers that took kind of an intermediate approach, which I'll talk about as well. But over the course of that time, we've developed kind of a lot of expertise around this. And we're seeing a lot of requests from our customers for things like phase zeros and advisory assessments on what is the best approach. That's a big time commitment, right? There's a lot of capacity tied up in evaluating that. And so what we did is we created a digital assessment where, by answering some questions about your priorities, kind of the characteristics of your people and your processes, help us come to a data-backed recommendation on how you should get to S/4HANA. And regardless of what approach we suggest or what approach turns out to be correct for you, we've got accelerators that will help you get there faster. If you think about a greenfield accelerator, right? NTT Data has industry solutions across all of our core industries. And what these are really is, at the base of them is SAP S/4HANA, right? Best practices. But we add to that, right, a template, right? An industry-based template of business processes, scope items, you might be familiar with that term, that are going to account for probably 80 to 90% of the business requirements based on your industry. We also add into that solutions from SAP's Business Suite that are appropriate for our customers in a given industry. That might be anywhere from digital manufacturing for a manufacturing company, transportation management and EWM for a wholesale distributor, or IBP demand planning for a consumer goods company. Moving on to what I would call a Bluefield accelerator, right? We work with a sister company called Natuvian and their data conversion server. This is a tool that accelerates what we call a Bluefield or selective data transition to S/4HANA. That is a good use case for any company that is reducing their ERP landscape footprint, right? If you've got multiple ERP systems and you're trying to condense them into one S/4 system. If you've got a lot of historical data that is important to you, but maybe you don't need 30 years of it, maybe you only need 7 years of it. Or maybe you have some customization that is really a differentiator for you, or it's a critical process that you need to bring with you, but you don't necessarily need to bring everything with you. Natuvian's data conversion server is a tool that allows you to pull out what you want, very quickly scope that, extract it, do any transformations, any adjustments that you need, and load that into an S/4HANA system. And then moving along to our Brownfield accelerator, we're very proud to say that we've done the most system conversions from ECC to S/4 of any SAP partner out there. And the way we did this is through our conversion factory based out of India. We've been able to come up with a standardized best practice approach to the technical aspects of converting your system from ECC to S/4HANA. In a very short amount of time with some data gathering, we can give you a quick assessment and estimate of what it's going to take to get your system from ECC to S/4HANA. And we're able to implement that on a fixed fee basis over the course of anywhere from 28 to 38, 40 weeks on the longer end of that. In addition to that, we've got over 10 prescriptive roadmaps that we work with our customers on when you go through this process, because we consider a brownfield conversion to be kind of the first step in your journey, right? And to really realize that value, you're going to want to have a good, solid roadmap in place. So once you are on S4, you can kind of hit the ground running there. Like I said, we're a market leader in this area. We've done over 200 conversions from ECC to S4HANA, utilizing SAP's provided tools along with our own proprietary tool set that helps to accelerate that process. So whether the appropriate approach for you guys is greenfield, bluefield, brownfield, right? We've got an accelerator for that. And if you aren't sure what's right for you guys, talk to us. We've got our Wayfinder digital assessment that can really help speed that decision process. The last thing I want to talk to you about is like I said, we're trying to accelerate the adoption of the S/4HANA platform. And honestly, when we talk about moving to S4, when I talk to my customers, when I talk to them about this journey, if you think about it in terms of winning or losing, I don't lose to competitors typically in this area. What we do is we lose to no action. People aren't necessarily ready. They don't know what the plan is. So we've developed a program that we call our zero cost move to help incentivize moving to S/4HANA quickly. We will, with the right agreement in place, we will waive all the conversion services fees from our conversion factory to allow you to take that money that you save and spend that on areas where you see immediate value, whether it's new processes in S/4HANA, something like PPDS in production planning, or EWM in the warehouse, right? You can spend that money on areas that mean something to you right away. And I just want to close with this. All these accelerators, these approaches that we have for getting to S/4HANA, they don't come out of nowhere. All right, we've got a long history of implementing S4HANA. We've been in it since day one, back on Simple Finance. We've got hundreds, we're nearing 1,000 customers live on S4HANA. Again, hundreds of new implementations and as well as hundreds of conversions. So you can see that we have the expertise in this area. We've done it a lot, and we're there to help you guys decide both what is the right path, and once you've decided what the right path is, what the correct tools are to get you there. Dave, you want to take that? Here.
So to close up, here's some key considerations when you are looking or choosing a partner. First, SAP qualifications, you got to make sure that they're qualified to work in the SAP space, get you to S4 and RISE. As Nick just said, we 200 plus S4 conversions, 100 plus migrations to RISE. RISE with SAP validated partner, as I stated earlier, we are a validated partner, so that's key. Making sure that the partner aligns with SAP's methodologies and gets you into RISE and set up correctly. One hand to shake. So how many have heard the one throat to choke? I always like to take the positive side of that, one hand to shake, meaning you have one partner who can handle the things, from the cloud to the implementation to the advisory to even the licensing. We are a VAR for SAP, so we can handle the licensing end of things. SAP people in the room, close your ears on that one. Actually, we work very hand in hand with you guys on that. Here's something else I think is very important. Technical and functional teams must have a tight integration. When you're dealing with going to RISE and doing a technical move as well as a functional move, it helps to have both of those sides in lockstep with each other. If they're not, things could go awry, things could happen that don't allow for a smooth transition and may not have it work correctly out of the box. And they know the implications for both the technical and the functional roles within the project. So again, tight integration with both is key. We feel like we have that because we can handle both sides of that equation. And we can help meet your goals at your own pace. Another way to say it is we can get you there when the time is right. Everyone's dealing with, when do we move? Do we move? There might be some that are saying, do we stay with SAP? Hopefully that's the case. But then the question is, when do we move? How do we get there? Does it make sense for us to do this now? Do we wait until 2027? There's other programs that SAP recently announced that might, more for complex implementations, that might make sense. And we can help you along that journey. Thanks. Open it up for any questions.
You got a minute or so.
Yep. Got 3 minutes, actually. Yes, sir.
So we've been RISE for a certain a small scale RISE pilot, what we call it. One of the issue or concern is the project landscape, right? We have multiple projects. Different projects you need a separate landscape. And previously we've done that internal on-prem, not an issue, right? But RISE seems like it's a huge cost if you want to replicate that multiple project landscape. So have you guys seen that as one of the concerns in your RISE customer base? SAP is closely here.
We have, yeah. You're absolutely describing it.
It's phenomenal, and then yeah.
You're absolutely right. We have seen that. A lot of customers, they rely on that project landscape. I don't have a great answer for you on that, other than what I can tell you what some of our other customers have done. Honestly, it's really just one additional system that they've decided to almost splurge for, if you will. They don't have those additional full project landscapes anymore. That's what we're seeing, and I think it's definitely a challenge.
Because the issue is that the RISE is baked in with the managed service and every order premium in there, right?
Right.
Your project landscape doesn't need that premium.
Correct.
So it's a low cost, separate project landscape, but RISE didn't have that option anymore. You have to go embed that premium project landscape.
Yeah, from a architectural, more technical basis, it leads to it though. But what you're saying is landscape sprawl at that point. One thing that not a lot of people understand is in this diagram, it's going from, so the flow of information might be requests, a transaction comes in, goes to S4, goes out to BTP, comes back to S4, might go to a non-RISE system. In all of those situations, you're having egress charges from the public cloud. So it's almost a death by paper cuts equation on the expense side, right? And I understand what you're saying from the RISE perspective, but there's also that perspective that not a lot of people understand or realize until they get the bill from SAP or AWS or yeah. Any other questions? Mm-hmm.
How does it work for the non-RISE? Not everything is taken care by SAP, correct?
Correct.
There will be some ancillary apps which are, let's say, we're starting on-prem. How are those going to work with us?
So latency is a big issue, right? SAP is a very chatty application when it comes down to it. So if the scenario is like this, where the non-RISE systems reside on a private cloud somewhere, you have to make sure that pipe in this little diagram, this little symbol here represents the pipe between the private cloud and the public cloud to make sure that it has that bandwidth, that highway between to allow the systems to perform correctly. So something to keep in mind. And again, we have customers that we're going down this path with right now.
And what we're seeing is if you've got something on-prem that's not moving to RISE, we're suggesting kind of co-locating that, moving it to the hyperscaler as well, just to keep them close.
We are on hyperscaler, but that's still on-prem because we're not.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we're out of our time. We don't want to step on the next group. So let us, I'll be here after the session to answer any other questions. So thank you.